Hey, good morning, everyone. Today, welcome to radar system class. Today, our topic is radar system losses. Okay, for every system, we have a losses as well as advantages. Okay, so what are the system losses? So before starting that concept, radar system losses, I want to recall the previous class topic, that is PRF and range ambiguities, where PRF is nothing but the pulse repetition frequency and range ambiguity is nothing but somewhat ambiguity about the detection of right target. Two range are it, two target. Okay. So see here, I already explained that what are the possibilities of range ambiguity. Okay. So see here, see this figure. Actually, this is the first transmitting pulse. Whenever this transmitting pulse hits the target, the echo must be received after the commencement, before the commencement of second transmitting pulse. Actually, this is the first transmitting pulse and this is the second transmitting pulse. Okay. So whenever this electromagnetic pulse hits the target, corresponding corresponding echo must be received before the commencement of the second transmitting pulse. Okay. So here target echo is denoted with letter A, where this is an unambiguous. There is no doubt about this target. Okay. But for the same target, you are transmitting another sweep, that is second transmitting pulse. So whenever the second transmitting pulse hits the target, you are receiving the two more echoes, one more echo in addition to the first echo signal A. Okay, so here A is same as like in the first signal, and again you are receiving another echo called B. Okay, so this is for second hit. Second hit means second sweep or second transmitting pulse or second hit. It is nothing but electromagnetic pulse is going to hit. Electromagnetic pulse is going to hit the target. Okay. So this is the third sweep. Third sweep is nothing but another electromagnetic pulse is projected towards the target. Whenever it hits the target, it receives the target information is like this. Okay. So A target as like in its first transmitting pulse, and B target as like in a second transmitting pulse, and C in addition to A and B, in a third sweep, another target is indicated as C. Okay. So now this target information is displayed on radar display. This radar display is called as A scope. This radar display is called as A scope. So on the A scope, the three targets are displayed like this: A, B, C. There is no such a difference in between these two uh, to to differentiate which one is the real target and which one is not the real target. Okay, noise target. Okay, so for that, here we are considering the concept of changing pulse repetition frequency. So that means, what do you mean by here PRF and range ambiguities? PRF, why we are including the word PRF, pulse repetition frequency here? So here that means by observing these targets on a scope, we have some range ambiguities. What was the real range of a target? Which one is the real target or which one is the true range? Okay, that was the ambiguity we are having. So to avoid the ambiguity, here we are changing the pulse repetition frequency. Okay, in first case, in first case, actually, wait a second. Vineet, I make you host, so please take care of participants.
मैम నేను కాదు మ్యామ్ హోస్ట్ వినయ్ చేశారు మ్యామ్
అందులో నుంచి 27,060 మంది ఆల్రెడీ సర్టిఫికెట్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకున్నారు. ఈసారి మేము మొత్తం 56
వినయ్ హోస్ట్ చేయ నన్ను
అందులో 52 పరీక్ష కేంద్రాలు తెలంగాణ స్టేట్లో 4 పరీక్ష కేంద్రాలు.
మ్యామ్ ఇప్పుడు హోస్ట్ నేను రికార్డింగ్ మీరు పెట్టేస్తారా మ్యామ్? ఓకే మ్యామ్.
See here, so in order to identify the original targets among the noisy targets, we need to change one parameter called pulse repetition frequency. Okay. So here, first in a first transmission set, first sweeps, we are using same pulse repetition time interval. That means we are using the same pulse repetition frequency for every transmission. Okay, for every sweep. So here at first, this is called first sweep, and this is called second sweep, and this is called third sweep. On 3 sweeps, we are using the same frequency. That is nothing but pulse repetition frequency. With this, what is the problem? On ASCOPE, we are unable to identify the original target. We have some range ambiguities. Okay, which one is the real range and which one is the real target? Okay, so in order to identify the original targets, here we are again changing the pulse repetition frequency. If you are able to transmit at first sweep, you assume the pulse repetition frequency as f1 at first, and at second sweep you may change that f1 to f2, and at third sweep that may be changed to f2 to f3, another new frequency. It may be a little bit change or a large change. Okay, here the concept is we are changing the pulse repetition frequency. After changing the pulse repetition frequency, that means first sweep at one frequency, second sweep at another frequency, and third sweep at another frequency, the display, ASCOPE display, that is radar display, is like this. Okay, so here where ambiguous targets, where not true targets, okay, or spread over the finite intervals for every PRF. That means for every sweep. Okay, these are spread over like this, spread over a finite duration. Whereas a real target is similar as like in a previous display. Okay, which one is the real target? That is looks like similar as like in a previous display. So based on by comparing these two, we can able to identify the real target. Okay, that was the by changing the pulse repetition frequency, we can easily identify the original target by comparing the first display. That means first display means here without changing a pulse repetition frequency. Okay, but in second display means here we are changing the pulse repetition frequency. So here we are comparing the display of targets without changing pulse repetition frequency and by changing the pulse repetition frequency. Okay, so why I am repeating this means here I want to give one conclusion line, that is an equation for that thing. So I repeat those lines again. Okay, so in order to find out the true range of a target, here we derive some equation called R true. R true is equals to R1, where if you on every sweep, if you identify the target as A only, on every sweep, if you identify the target as A only, then the target is R true is equals to R1, no other targets. At first sweep, it identified as A only. At second sweep, we identified target as A only. And at third sweep also, we identified the target as A only. There is no other targets like B and C. In that case, here the range becomes, R true is equals to R1, no other targets. Are you getting my concept here? R true is nothing but R1. Whenever it happens, whenever R2 is equals to only one target at every sweep. Okay, first transmitting pulse, second and third one also. There is no other targets are detected other than the target which one is detected in the first sweep. Okay, so that is R2 is equals to R1. Or this is the one case. Or another case here is if any other targets detected in the next sweeps, okay, in second, third, fourth, like that. Okay, in that case, the true range R2 is calculated as R2 is equals to R1 plus R unambiguous 1, or R1 plus 2R unambiguous 1, or it may be extended like that, R1 plus 3R unambiguous 1. That means see here, see here, if you identified only A as target in every sweep, right? At first sweep A as the target, in second sweep also not B is detected, only A is detected, and in third sweep only A is detected, not B and C. Then our true range is nothing but R1. R1 is nothing but this range. Okay, what is the R1 here from here to here? This is a distance range. Okay. So R1 is nothing. R1 is range corresponding to this target echo signal A. Okay. So that was the first case. If not like that, what is the case here? At first sweep, the target A is identified. At second sweep, the target B is identified in addition to A. At third sweep, target B and C, target C is identified in addition to A and B. Okay. In this case, what is the true range? What is the formula for the true range? So for this case, our true range is given as R1, R1 plus, R1 is nothing but range regarding to target which is one is identified in first sweep, that is R1 range. Okay, R1 plus 2 R unambiguous 1. 2, that means R unambiguous 1 corresponding to second pulse, after the second pulse. Okay, if it is identified after the third pulse, it can be treated as 3 R unambiguous 1. So see here, see the formula here. So R2 is equals to R1 plus R unambiguous 1. Here R unambiguous 1 is nothing but the target range which is identified after the first pulse. Okay. And if it is identified after the second pulse, R1 plus 2 R unambiguous 1. If it is identified after the third pulse, it will continue like this: R1 plus 3 R unambiguous 1, or R1 plus 4 unambiguous 1, or R1 plus 5 unambiguous 1. Okay, like that this equation is continuous. Okay, so here our true range is calculated with a pulse repetition frequency. Here the concept is with a pulse repetition frequency F1. Okay, so in order to avoid the range ambiguities, we are changing the frequencies. Okay, so if we assume at first we are transmitting the pulse at frequency F1, then R2 is nothing but R1 or R1 plus R unambiguous 1 or R1 plus 2 R unambiguous 1, like that. Okay, so for the same sweep, we are transmitting the signal at F2. F2 here, F2 as the another pulse repetition frequency. Then the true range is calculated as R2 is equals to R2, as like in a previous situation, the target at F2 frequency, or R2 plus R unambiguous 2. That means R2 plus the pulse after the second pulse, after the first pulse, here F2. That's why we are specifying as R unambiguous 2. Okay, R2 plus 2R2, R2 plus 3R2, R2 plus 4R2, R2 plus 5R2. It continues like that based on the detected targets. Okay, so the correct range is the value which is the same with the 2 PRFs. Hereby, how we are identifying the correct range means when we compare these two equations, which value is same at F1 pulse repetition frequency and F2 pulse repetition frequency. So here we are deriving the two equations, and we are calculating the values, and we are identifying which value is same at two different pulse repetition frequencies. That one is considered as the true range of the target. Okay, so this is about pulse repetition frequency and range ambiguities. I think everyone is clear about this topic. Okay, so today I will start the system losses, our last topic in your first unit. So system losses. Okay, what is the ultimate aim of any system engineer? The ultimate aim of any system engineer is you need to give a more throughput, more output with less noise. Am I right? You need to generate a more output, more throughput with a minimum losses. So here radar system losses is nothing but the losses which are caused due to several reasons. Okay. So what is the aim of radar system engineer? Always the radar system engineer is trying to minimize those losses in order to improve the signal to noise ratio of the system. Okay, so see here. So what is the thing here? Actually, for any system, we are able to minimize the losses, but we are not minimizing that minimization level to 0. Okay, even though we are considering several minimization, loss minimization techniques, several precautions, we are unable to reduce those loss levels to 0. Okay, still some losses are there. So here, what is the aim or objective of discussing this topic means, here first thing is we are trying to minimize the losses by taking some precautions, by considering some calculations. Okay, and another thing is, even though after taking all the precautions, some losses are existed in this system. So that losses are considered into calculation while we are performing the range calculations or giving the system analysis, system performance report. Okay, that was the reason to learn this topic of radar system losses. Okay, so generally, in order to improve the signal to noise ratio of a radar system, we are reducing these losses. Okay, generally we have two types of losses in these radar systems. One is predictable and another one is unpredictable. Okay, so predictable losses means nothing but the antenna beam shape loss, collapsing loss, and the losses in the microwave plumbing are examples of losses which are predictable, because in an antenna in radar system we are using so much we are using some components, some systems. Okay, so based on, we know that losses, antenna beam shape loss, whenever antenna demodulation is going, or modulation is going, or some beam shape loss is occurred, some collapsing loss is occurred, or some losses due to the microwave components are occurred. Okay, these losses are pre-known. Okay, so and we can predict the amount of loss caused by those microwave components. We are able to predict those losses. We know microwave switches. Okay, microwave connectors. All are know what are, and characteristics of that microwave components. We know the characteristics of the microwave components. So based on the theoretical concepts, we can predict the loss caused due to those components. Okay, so such type of losses are known as losses due to losses which are predictable. Okay, and these losses cannot be ignored. We know the loss with this microwave component, we have this amount of loss, we know that. Okay, then we'll try to avoid that loss up to the maximum extent. Okay, so those losses are predictable. Okay, but in some cases we cannot expect the, we cannot predict, we are unable to predict the losses, because that loss may be due to an manpower is nothing but here radar operator. If there are due to lack of concentration of radar operator, we cannot predict that. Everyone is expecting, everyone is working with a perfection mode. Okay, but the and weather conditions, all these are not predicted by us. Okay, so those losses comes into the category of unpredictable. Okay, so whenever you thought about the system losses in a radar system, what are the points need to recollect in your mind? System loss is nothing but several losses which influence the performance of a radar system. Okay, so what is the need of calculating these losses means, in order to, by calculating these losses, we can take a precautions to reduce that losses. So that means by reducing the radar system losses, we can able to improve the signal to noise ratio. So by improving the signal to noise ratio, we can improve the radar system performance. Okay, so coming to types of losses, mainly we have two types here: predictable, unpredictable. Predictable is nothing but the losses which can be predict before the analysis of all the reports. Unpredictable means we cannot predict before the operation, before the loss happen. Okay, so these are the two types of losses. So first we will say predictable losses. In a predictable losses, first one is a microwave plumbing loss. Okay, so I think you know the meaning of plumbing, plumber works, and we are thinking, we are calling plumber works. No, here plumbing is nothing but leakage. It shows the leakage. So how it is connected to our radar systems, how it is connected to our antennas means, how it is connected. So in between transmitter and receiver, we have a transmission lines as a medium. Mute everyone. Everyone mute your mics. Please mute all of you except me. So here my microwave plumbing loss means we are using several connectors, okay, and several transmission lines in a radar system in order to send a signal towards the target. Okay. So here microwave plumbing loss is nothing but this loss in the transmission lines which connects the transmitter output to the antenna. Actually, radar transmitter transmits a signal towards the target with the help of transmitting antenna. Am I right? So we need to connect the transmitter output to the transmitting antenna in order to radiate the signal towards the target. Okay. So for that purpose, we are using some cables and waveguides. Okay. So whenever we are connecting these microwave transmission lines or waveguides or cables from a transmitter to the transmitting antenna, if any plumbing problems, that means if any connection problems, some leakage of energy, leakage of power is happens. Okay, that was the one of the laws that is called microwave plumbing laws. Okay, so in general, at lower radar frequencies, this transmission line introduces a little loss until its length is exponentially long. Okay, generally we know this concept. At lower frequencies, losses are very less. But as the frequency of the operation is increasing at higher frequencies, this loss or attenuation is more because the best example is if within a classroom or within a audible distance, there is no loss in a signal. Okay. The best example is for our case only. Actually, if we discuss the same class in our classroom, except noise made by you people, there is no attenuation or there is no loss of a signal. Okay, directly audible within the classroom range. But what are the present situation? At my home, I'm broadcasting my audio signal. Okay, and I transmitting my signal, and it reaches to different points in a state. Okay, different points in a state. So that means my audio is now transmitted to a longer distances, in which case the losses are more within a audible range or within a long distance. All we know that these are the fundamental concepts of communication. Okay, as the distance or as the frequency of operation is increased, so within a audible range, low frequency transmission is enough. Okay, but if your distance is increases, low frequency transmission is not sufficient. Okay, we need to go for higher frequencies. Because why we are going for the modulation concept? See, everything is linked. Every subject to second year, third year, final year, all the subjects are interrelated to our subject. If you learn the subject with an interest, you can interlink. Okay, so at lower frequencies, losses are less. At higher frequencies, the losses are high. That's why we are going to the concept of modulation. What is the concept of modulation? Modulation is nothing but superimposing a message signal onto the carrier signal. That means where carrier is a high frequency signal and message is a low frequency signal. So in order to protect a low message signal, we are superimposing that message signal onto the carrier signal. Am I right? So see here, so actually why we are discussing means this is the microwave component which is used to connect a transmitter output to the transmitting antenna in order to transmit a signal towards the target in a free space. Okay, so this loss is low at lower frequencies and this loss is high at higher radar frequencies. This is where, because at higher frequencies attenuation is taken place. What do you mean by an attenuation here? Attenuation is nothing but degradation. We can reducing the strength of the signal while it is traveling towards a longer distances. Okay, so this is microwave plumbing losses. In coming to another loss, connector loss. These are the several here coming to connector loss. Connector loss. So coming to connector losses, this is also a one type of microwave plumbing loss. So connector is nothing but, for example, here, see here, this is a antenna rotary joint. Okay, what do you mean by an antenna rotary joint? I already told that in radar systems, we are using a directional antenna. What do you mean by a directional antenna? Directional antenna is nothing but it directs its electromagnetic beam towards in a particular direction. Whatever the direction you want to project, in that direction, the beam, narrow beam is projected. Okay. But we don't know target is present in which direction. Okay. So for that, see here, I will show. So see this example here. This is our radar system. This is a range calculation. So whenever an electromagnetic pulse hits this target, this is an so echo signal is again received towards the radar system. And see, observe here, this yellow dot indicates the hit. So whenever it touches, this is our first sweep. That means I already explained that graph, no, first sweep, second sweep. Okay. Whenever it reaches to this point, it hits the target and the echo is returned back towards the target. Okay. See here, why I'm showing this graph here. So now this antenna directs its electromagnetic beam towards this direction. Okay. And plane is coming in this direction. This beam touches this target and echo is returned back to the radar system. This is a one case, but we don't know the direction of all objects, not a single plane. Some planes maybe comes in this direction and some others in this direction, some others in this direction. So here this radar antenna must be rotate in 360 degrees. In one time it transmits a beam in this direction. After rotating it transmits in this. After rotating it transmits in this direction. After it should rotate in a 360 degrees. Okay. So for that rotation purpose. So whenever the this beam covers in all the 360 degrees direction, it covers all the objects which are flying in a space. Okay. So see here, why we are discussing that concept means we are using the rotary joint to rotate the antenna in a 360 degree direction. So this is the rotary joint which is used to rotate some rotating component here to rotate the antenna in a 360 degrees direction. Okay. Generally this is the lower part and this is the upper part. We can find somewhere here the antenna. Okay. So whenever it rotates, the antenna rotates in a 360 degrees direction, and it projects its beam in all the directions in order to find out the target. Okay. So here connected loss means some rotary joints are connected here for the rotation purpose to rotate the antenna beam. Okay. So if there is any connection, okay, in addition to the losses in the transmission line itself, additional losses occurs at each connection or bend in a line. Okay. If the line is bended, the waves are also bended. Okay. And the antenna rotary joint if used. Okay. And connected losses are usually small, but if the connection is poorly made, it cannot contribute significant attenuation. Okay. The same transmission lines is used by another way of occurring loss is if we are using the same transmission line for receiving and for transmission, the loss to be inserted in the radar equation is twice the one-way loss. Okay. If we use the same transmission line for the transmission and reception, we can consider the loss twice the one-way loss. Okay. These are the microwave plumbing losses. The microwave plumbing losses, we have some connector losses and some transmission line losses. Okay. So next one is a under this microwave plumbing loss, we have another loss called duplexer loss. What is the role of duplexer in our radar system? In a radar system, duplexer is the main role. Duplexer actually is a switch which can be used as both a transmitter and receiver. Okay. So here we need, this is the predictable loss, not an unpredictable loss. So in this case also you need to consider the loss of a duplexer. Okay, so the signal suffers attenuation as it passes through the duplexer. Generally, the greater isolation is required from the duplexer and transmission. The larger will be the insertion loss. Okay, so insertion loss means loss introduced when component is inserted into the transmission line. So here, here the conclusion line is, due to this duplexer, we have a insertion loss. Why this insertion loss occurred? This insertion of transmitter, insertion of a receiver. At one case, it is acting as a transmitter. At another case, it acting as a receiver. So some insertion and some switching in between the transmitter and receiver is taken place. So in this case, if any loss occurs, then such type of loss is called as duplexer loss. Insertion loss caused in a duplexer called the duplexer loss. Okay. Generally, I told that these losses are predictable. We can estimate. We can study all the studied. We already studied about these microwave components in our microwave engineering subject. Am I right? So you can have some idea about these microwave components, and you know the characteristics of these microwave components: duplexers, joints, rotary joints, or those transmission lines or waveguides. All you know. Okay, you know the characteristics. So you may estimate, not accurate, but some extent you may estimate the losses caused due to these microwave components or these things. Okay, so that's why these losses are called as predictable losses. So that estimation is here. Typical losses in S band. What are the radar bands? We have L, S, C, X. Okay, so in S band radar, if for the 1000 feet range, the waveguide transmission loss is 1 dB loss. Typically, its value is 1 dB. And due to poor connections, there may be a loss. There may be a chance to get a loss of 0.5 dB. Okay, so due to a rotary joint, there may be a chance of getting 0.4 dB. Okay, and due to a duplexer, there may be a chance to get 1.5 dB highest loss. Okay, and the total plumbing losses are 3.4 dB. There may be, and we can predict. This is not an accurate, but we can plus or minus. Okay, we can predict the total microwave plumbing losses are 3.4 dB. Okay, we can predict up to this range. Okay, so these are the microwave plumbing losses. In a radar system losses, in the concept of predictable losses, these are not unpredictable. These losses can be predictable. We can take some measures to avoid the loss percentage, and in order to improve the signal to noise ratio, in order to improve the radar system's performance. Okay, so next loss is an antenna loss. Actually, when you consider in a radar range equation, PTG, where G is the gain of an antenna, that where that G is assumed as constant gain. Okay, but whereas in a real case, we have a beam shape loss. That means that is not a gain. This is the main lobe of an antenna, you know that, where it indicates the gain of an antenna. So antenna, when you observe, this is not a constant. This value is like this lobe. Okay, so when pulses are located like this, that is demodulated or detected like this. Okay, amplitude modulated wave. Okay, so due to this beam shape, we have a some loss called beam shape loss. Okay, so the antenna gain that appears in the radar equation was assumed to be constant, equal to the maximum value. Okay, but in real case, it is not in such a case. Okay, so to properly take into account the pulse time modulation caused by the beam shape, the computations of probability of detection would have to be performed assuming a modulated train of pulses rather than constant amplitude pulses. Okay. Okay, this is also a predictable loss we need to consider into an account while analyzing the radar system performance. Okay, and see here, there are some other antenna losses called first one is a scanning loss. Actually, here we have one scenario, one case, that is whenever the transmitting gain is not same as the receiving gain. So transmitting gain is nothing but transmitting antenna transmits a signal with some gain. Okay, another receiving antenna, whenever the echo is received whenever the echo is approaches the receiving antenna, it receives that echo signal with some gain. Okay, so whenever it is not matched, that means the transmitting signal is having some strength, the receiving signal is having some strength. If those two are not matched, it scans repeatedly, it scans thoroughly, rapidly. Okay, so with that also we have some loss called scanning loss. Okay, so see here, when the antenna scans rapidly enough, the gain on transmit is not same as the gain on the receive. So an additional loss has to be computed called the scanning loss. Here, simple concept, nothing but we are transmitting a signal, a transmitting antenna. V means here transmitting antenna transmits a signal with some gain. Okay, but whenever that signal comes as an echo signal and approaches the receiver, the receiving antenna receives with some gain. If these two are not matched, the antenna again and again sends a beam and scans. At that time, some loss occurred. That loss is called as scanning loss. Okay, and another thing is this one is called as radome. Okay, see here. This is called as radome, where radome is nothing but some protection equipment for the antenna. Okay, so due to the insertion of this radome also we have some loss, and these losses are called as radome losses. So loss introduced by the radome depends on the type and radar frequency, and it may be introduced in two-way loss. Okay, so next some other losses. What are the up to now we discussed about some up to now we are discussed about a predictable losses. We discussed about some predictable losses. But see here, in this we have some few other losses other than the predictable losses. We have a operator loss. Okay, operator loss is nothing but if the lack of concentration of an radar operator or side nature of radar operator. Also some losses exist. Okay, those losses are called as system performance operator loss. Okay, so see here, an alert, motivated and well-trained operator performs as described by theory. Okay, but when distracted, tired or overloaded or not properly trained, operator performance will decrease. That is also a other loss called operator loss. Okay, and another one is a field degradation loss. Okay, so field degradation is nothing but we are first in a theoretical concept here. We are designing the radar system and we are testing the radar system in laboratory conditions. Okay, by an engineering personnel or experienced technicians. Okay, but the actual but when the radar system need to operate in actual field conditions, that performance usually there may be a chance to degrade. Okay, to minimize there may be a chance to degrade the actual performance. Okay, so that is called as field degradation. Actually, here nothing but simple concept is nothing but field degradation is nothing but. So whenever radar system is observed or tested in between the well technician or technicians or with the experienced persons under laboratory conditions is different different with whenever it is operating in the real field conditions. Okay, there may be also some loss that may be considered into an account which is not predictable. This loss is called an unpredictable loss. Okay, so on whole in today class I explained the concept of system losses called radar system losses. So in these system losses, basically we have a two kinds. Why we are calculating the system losses means to minimize those system losses in order to improve the signal to noise ratio. By improving the signal to noise ratio, we are improving the system performance. Okay, radar system performance. Okay, basically these losses are two types: predictable, unpredictable. In predictable, all microwave and plumbing losses are comes under the part of predictable losses, and all other operator losses or field degradation loss comes under the part of the unpredictable losses. So by analyzing these two losses, we can take a measures to minimize these losses and improve the system performance, that is radar system performance. Okay, This is